Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down into bite-sized pieces. Today, there's really only one story, and it is the market. The market is pumping and everybody is elated, but I am here to send you a warning, which is given out by Economist Richard Wolff. So let's jump right in. First up, everybody's happy. Hey, Bitcoin's up, Ethereum's up. Let me refresh this page real quick so we can see. Bitcoin, 71.82. It's up by 5.88%, 6% essentially. Ethereum making huge gains, 15%. XRP at 8. Tether's Tether. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Litecoin. EOS, wow, 12%. What a great day, right? Fantastic. Everybody's excited. This could be what we were waiting for. I want to tell you, slow your roll, because this is not what it seems, and you need to protect yourself. I've been around since 2017, and I've seen the ups and the downs. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I can tell you right now, I do not believe that this rally is going to last in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to break it down in a fundamental way so you can be prepared and be protected. So I was perusing YouTube, as I like to do, and I came across the economist Richard Wolff. And this was an interview by the Thom Hartmann program. He's got a lot of economists on, talks a lot about the economy, where it's going, what's going to happen, kind of tries to plot everything out. And it was an interesting topic because it's totally relevant for right now. And there was really 5 segments in here. And I broke it all down because I don't like to have you guys watch everything. I just give it to you that, the most important pieces. And here's the most important piece. So first we're going to go through an introduction. Then we're going to talk about unemployment and how bad it is, the SBA disaster, the Federal Reserve and the colossal failure that they are undergoing right now, the effects of the bailouts and debt, and how this is going to affect not just the traditional markets, but it's going to spill over into our market, cryptocurrency. So let's take a listen.
The economy is going to get a lot worse. He's predicting something like or worse than the Great Depression. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. On the phone with us is Professor Richard Wolff, the economist, co-founder of democracyatwork.info, author of numerous books. His most recent, Understanding Socialism. His website's democracyatwork.info and rdwolff with 2 Fs.com. You can tweet him at Prof. Wolff, P-R-O-F, as in Professor Wolff, W-O-L-F-F. Professor Wolff, welcome back.
Thank you, Tom. Glad to be here.
I am very curious to hear your thoughts on where we're at. I think last week when we talked, or maybe it was even the week before that, I had said to a congressman on this program after the first stimulus was passed, I said it's going to take at least $10 trillion to get us out of this hole, or to get us through the year. We're going to have to basically make up for an economy that's not running. We have now 10 million people out of work. Are people's jobs going to be there when they go back? What's America going to look like economically a year from now? And banks are warning that Trump's small business loan program is headed for a total disaster. Your thoughts on these things, sir?
First of all, it is a disaster already. I can tell you from experience. I'm a small business owner, own a couple businesses myself. My wife owns 4, I own 2. And I can tell you right now that it is a debacle. It is a debacle. It was supposed to be very smooth and rolled out quite innocently enough. But I can tell you that there's multiple programs going on at once, and Steve Mnuchin and his whole gang were supposed to roll this out and have everything under control. And I can tell you right now, from experience, going to the different banks and talking to them about what's going to happen, they have no clue what's going on. And this is just an article from Yahoo Finance. States banks were not prepared for the flood of small business coronavirus loan applications. This happened last week. Today it is April 6th, about 12:50 p.m., and that is Mountain Time. But this article states, when the starting light turned green, which was Friday, or actually Thursday night, banks weren't prepared to handle the flood of applications. Banks were supposed to begin processing applications at midnight on Thursday. By Friday morning, a number of banks were either not accepting loans yet or having issues with their loan application pages. That's despite Mnuchin having declared that a small business approved for the loans would get the money the same day. If you can believe that. The government being efficient, get out of here, did not happen. It was already clear by Thursday that banks weren't going to be ready for Friday and hadn't yet received critical guidance on how the process would work. So we need these things to be open to keep our businesses going. Now, my business can last for months and months and months. However, this program is out there for me, so I will take it because I never know what's going to happen, right? But there are other small businesses restaurants, entertainment, hair salon, nail salons, shipping, packaging, those types of things, that they're hurting a lot. And 50% of businesses are small businesses in the United States. I don't know where it is globally, where you're at, but that's a problem if you can't get money into the hands of those people, because then we're going to have issues with defaulting on loans, can't pay employees, economic downturn becomes even worse, and so on and so forth. So it was critical, mission critical, that this actually worked. And it didn't. So JP Morgan Chase on Thursday night sent notices to customers that warned financial institutions like ours are still awaiting guidance from the SBA and the U.S. Treasury. As a result, Chase will most likely not be able to start accepting applications on Friday, April 3rd, as we had hoped. And so I took a look at their website today, and here's the problem. So there's extremely long wait times if you call. I've already called. You can't get through. And then let's take a look at another big bank, like, I don't know, Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo, they stopped taking applications for the Paycheck Protection Program loans already. And this is, like I said, it's Monday, April 6th. They stopped doing this last night on Sunday, which is like, I don't understand how that works, because bankers don't usually work on Sunday, but apparently they cut it all off because they were only going to do 10 billions in loans. And they said, nope, we're done. We're good to go. So these are two of the main banks. And either they are at capacity or don't know what the heck's going on. And I can just tell you from experience, I've called a lot of them, and they either don't know what's happening, will get back to you, or have already stopped, like Wells Fargo, which is one of my banks that I use for one of my businesses. So let's keep going. So it's bad enough that we have an issue with small businesses getting the money that they need to continue on. But it is a domino effect. So if the small businesses can't get the money they need, they cannot pay their employees. If their employees can't get paid, they can't afford the essentials. If they can't afford the essentials, we have a massive breakdown. So let's take a listen.
I saw the numbers this week of the increase in people applying for unemployment, where we're losing, I don't know, 1 million people a day, or some astronomical number of people basically losing their jobs, losing their incomes. You have to shake your head in disbelief. In a few short weeks, we have gone from an economy that the president of our country referred to as the greatest in the world to an economy that looks to us now, and I mean this.
And yes, let's do a little fact check. So as far as unemployment goes, let's see where we are at. So this was from the New York Times. They say the unemployment rate is probably around 13%. And I'm going to link this in the description below. This right here, looking at 1930, this is the Great Depression. This is how high it was. And you can see where we were at in 2010, after the crash of 2008, pretty high. And now we're around right here. And they go through how they kind of figure that out. But it's not too, what's the word? Astronomically hard, I guess, to figure it out. Because if you can take a look at, there's the 24.9% was the Great Depression rate. If you take a look at the actual unemployment we had in the United States, and again, I don't know where you're at, if you're in Canada, Mexico, or if you're in India, any parts of Europe or Australia. I don't know what your unemployment rate is like over there. Let me know in the comment section below. But in here, we are gaining rapidly. And here's a graph to put it all in perspective. So 6.65 million filed for unemployment just last week. And here's how it worked. We had not too much February 29th, week later. Here we are here. We had 3 million on the week of March 21st, March 28th, going into April, which is this week. We are looking at 6 million. So this will only increase. Right now they say we're around 13%. I can see it going as high as 30%. And that is not just me pulling a number out of my hat. That is numbers that I've also heard from other economists and also from analysts at Chase. So we will see. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but the way things are going, it does look that way. Let's continue.
Seriously, to be entering into a depression, the likes of which we've only seen once before, namely in the 1930s. A literal, complete breakdown in which millions of people have no job, in which vast portions of our business community have effectively stopped functioning, and in which the next steps are are so scary and so unknown that everyone is in a limbo of sorts, with the only extra weird part of it being that we're isolated in our little living situations, being told that it's life-threatening to go outside. I mean, under such circumstances, making predictions is very difficult. I can tell you that the behavior of the Federal Reserve, the money that they've been pumping in, records amounts, the interest rates that have been low for 15 years, now even lower, have totally failed. I mean, let's be real clear. 2 weeks ago, the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates by a half a point. Everybody said, wow, it had no positive effect that anyone can discern. A week later, they cut the interest rate, that time by a full percent. Everyone said, wow, twice, and it was again a total failure. The only thing you can say, and even that without certainty, is that it would have been even worse, perhaps, if they hadn't done it, but that's not much comfort. And now we see this $2 trillion fiscal program of stimulus, and all I can do as an economist and a historian is shake my head and repeat the old phrase, way too little, way too late.
So the reason why I'm concerned about all these things is because if you have a third of your population out of work, how can you continue to maintain these types of numbers, a pump in the economy or into the markets? Not only cryptocurrency, but even in the S&P 500. This is, let's look at today and do a refresh. It's actually doing pretty good. Just ticking along like nothing's happening. Let's take a look at the 5-day. And here, down, down, down. We heard about the unemployment rates, different bad news that comes about, and now here we are, and we have an uptick. And to me, I just think to myself, like, am I living in bizarro world, or does this make sense to you? Let me know in the comments section below. But when I see these types of things happening, I'm like, this isn't maintainable. I don't think this is going to last. I don't think we're going to keep going up. I don't understand why that even the market would increase when we have the economic report that's so blatantly obvious in our faces. But that is where we're at. Let's keep going. So the second to last part, we're going to talk about the effects of the bailout and what's going to happen. This is kind of like the crux of what Professor Wolff is really getting to, and I think it really relates to the cryptocurrency market in general. Let's take a listen.
How it works and what needs to be done. A few years ago, we had SARS, we had MERS, we had Ebola. I mean, we know what this is. We know that the spread of the disease is. There is no excuse for the level of breakdown. And what you're seeing is the cascade of consequences when the system has been focused on private profit maximization instead of meeting the needs of a society, which in any rational way would include preparing for something as well known as viral pandemics.
So what he said right there, when we are focusing on maximization of profits, that's exactly what we did in '08. That's what happened with the banks. They all screwed us, and they just made a run on the economy and just obliterated it. And then there was bad deals by the president at the time, President Obama, and Congress and the Senate. They had to do what they had to do, and that's a discussion for another time. But when we took a look at that in '08, in '09 is when Satoshi Nakamoto wrote that great white paper and brought about Bitcoin, which brought about the whole cryptocurrency digital asset market. And it was in response to what happened in '08. And these things just kept happening. And that's why I think most of us are here, because we are sick and tired of what has happened over the years. And I think that when we see that this type of catastrophe is happening in the economy, I just sit back and go, well, there's only one resolution we can possibly have. And I have my position. Your position may be a little bit different than mine, but I believe that we are here because we totally believe in cryptocurrency digital assets. And that's just the way it is. Now, the last part here is we're going to get into debt. And this is the very last part, and it makes a lot of sense. Let's take a listen.
I think we have about 2 minutes to a hard break here. In 1929, the stock market crash in and of itself didn't cause the depression, correct me if I'm wrong, but rather everybody was in debt. There were all these people who owned stock on margin, and as the stock market went down, those margin calls got hit, and people had to, they had to pay back the debts, and they couldn't do it, and that's really what crashed the system. We have massive debt in the United States right now. That bubble has not yet started to burst, has it? And do you expect it to?
Yes, I mean, we are much more indebted than we were in 1929. But the irony there, Tom, I have to get this out. The irony is the reason corporations have greater debt now than at any time in American history is that we solved the crash, the dot-com crash in 2000, and then the subprime mortgage crash in 2008-9 by lowering interest rates, making it an invitation with all that money and the low interest rates for every corporation, no matter what the problem it had in its business, to solve it by getting essentially free money and going into levels of debt that are now about to burst because the underlying economy cannot generate the profits out of which that debt was supposed to be repaid. And the government acts as though this catastrophe is somehow not going to happen. That's a mistake.
Right.
And it makes
are you expecting a large defaults on corporate bonds now?
Well, I think what the government is going to do is basically either allow that to happen, which would be catastrophic, or simply suspend all repayment of credit and have the government finally step in and say what has already been the truth. We are now the economy. The government guarantees everything. Private capitalism has collapsed. And we'll figure out what we do from here.
Unprecedented times, and everything that he says, I can see where it's all going. Now, hopefully, it doesn't get as bad as what was just predicted. However, with things that are going on, I don't really see too much of that not happening. But we will see. Now, let me know what you think about in the comments section below. Let me know what your plans are. And let's move on. So the last couple pieces, I'm going to play devil's advocate because we can't have all that negativity without having a different look at what's going on. So last month, this is Bill Ackman. If you don't know who Bill Ackman is, he was the fund manager who turned $27 million into $2.6 billion in a little bit over a month after a series of bets using credit default swaps in February. And he tweeted this on his newfound optimism. He says, "I'm beginning to get optimistic. Cases appear to be peaking in New York. Almost the entire country isn't shut down. Hydroxychloroquine and antibiotics appear to help. There is increased evidence that the asymptomatic infection rate could be as much as 50x higher than expected." And this is what I've been saying for a while. This is all centered around the coronavirus. I know some people will say, no, it's not the coronavirus, it's this or it's that, it's that. It's not. In my opinion, humble opinion, it's the coronavirus. If we could eradicate that tomorrow, a lot of things would change. I think we could all agree on that. So these are his thoughts, and it makes a lot of sense. If he's saying, yeah, I mean, it looks like in New York right now, hats off, God bless to you people out there. Hopefully it works out. That they're going to hit a peak, hopefully sometime this week, and then it starts to drop off because there's going to be more infections and more deaths in New York. So everybody, hopefully it works out. However, after that, hopefully we can see some type of relief. So Ackman, this is where it comes from. Ackman last month warned that hell is coming in a CNBC interview that coincided with a big drop in the stock market. He said he called CEOs of companies he was invested in to stop buyback programs, husband resources, and draw down credit lines because hell was coming, as he called on President Donald Trump to institute a 30-day shutdown. So he kind of went from one extreme to the other. He pretty much said, the sky is falling, to everything is going to be okay. In a very short amount of time, I might add. And in that time, he made a couple billion, 2.6 billion, somewhere around there. So not chump change. But here's my question to you. Do you believe, honestly, that he believed what he just said? Or do you think that maybe it's manufactured to produce a certain result, to manipulate the market, to make even more money? And this is just a question that I pose. The question must be asked, because we don't ask the question, what good are we? We have to actually always ask and see what is going on behind it. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. But before you answer, I want to bring forth two more articles that may sway your opinion. So this is a Wall Street Star Money Manager says the S&P 500 could plunge to 1,500 in the worst case. And just so you know, right now, it is sticking at around 2,600. So to 1,500, that's a good 1,000-point drop. But why? And that's in the worst case. So this is Scott Menard. He's not like a janitor, not some schmo off the street. He's the managing partner and chief investment officer of Guggenheim Partners, LLC. He states, when the markets start to see some of the data on unemployment rising and economic growth and corporate economics earnings contracting, there will be another level of panic in the market. Well, we just saw the unemployment spiking, and I don't see it slowing down anywhere near of what people may be thinking. I think it's only going to accelerate. Now, as far as the earnings contracting, we'll only see that in weeks and months to come. And when the business reports show that, all hell will break loose, because it's going to be stagnant or take a big nosedive. And with that, huge panic. And just like what was just said in the video before, it was people calling in their markers. That's what caused the big panic, which is people become irrational, and then everything just falls apart. So lastly, Menard said it this way. One thing I would caution is that if earnings continue to fall, as I expect them to, S&P earnings could get as low as $100 this year, given the traditional market multiple of about 15-time earnings. That would put the S&P at about 1,500, still about 1,000 points lower than we are today. Exactly. Certainly we are down from the recent peak of 33.86, so we made a big move, but we still have a pretty good move to make, whether that be up or down. And the last piece I'll leave you with is this. This is from Deli Hodl. Crypto research firm predicts Bitcoin shakeout before breakout as halving approaches. The crypto research firm Blockware Solutions released a detailed breakdown of what may happen as the highly anticipated Bitcoin halving arrives. The event, which is set to occur in May, will slice in half the Bitcoin reward that miners earn for processing transaction. Its immediate impact on the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market has been highly debated for months. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this channel. According to the report, this is the last paragraph, the halving is likely to trigger a shakeout before the breakout. The shakeout phase could see widespread capitulation as Bitcoin miners who can't afford to pay their bills sell their Bitcoin holdings and switch off their rigs. And I've talked about this many times. There's only so much that a small mining operation can do. Bitmain will be fine. The large gigawatt factory in Texas will be fine because they have financial backers that have deep pockets. But small miners, they're going to shut them off, and that's that. So once they shut off their rigs, this is going to cause the price of Bitcoin to drop down to around 5,000. So here's my final thoughts. Again, I don't see this rally continuing to pump. When I look at this, the only thing I can think of myself is why. Why is the S&P 500 going up? Why is cryptocurrency going up? Is this manipulation, or is just the people are just pushing it aside and going, it'll be okay, it'll be fine. There's fire all around me, but it'll work itself out. So my plan is the same thing it's always been, it's with a slight twist. So I will continue to stay in cryptocurrency digital asset markets, dollar cost averaging every week, but I have set aside heavy money. And I will buy in as I start to see these dips go down. Now, how far is the dips going to go? I can see 5,000. I can also see 4. And it's not outside the realm of possibility to see 3. If we keep seeing huge, massive unemployment, job layoffs, economic downturn going even worse, I can see that. And don't just take my word for it. Take it from a miner. So this is the channel Mr. Christoph. Give him a follow if you want to learn about just the happenings, kind of like what I talk about. But also he talks a lot about Bitcoin mining. He's got his own farm that he has built over the years. He's been in for a while. And when I saw this title, Why I Sold My Bitcoin, I thought, well, that's a clickbaity title, which some people say. But as the kids say, clickbaity. But when you watch the whole video, he indeed sold his Bitcoin. And he explains exactly why, and it pretty much mirrors exactly what I just said. So go ahead and give that, check that out. I'll link that in the description below as well. And that's it for today's video. So all I can say to you is stay safe, and let me know what you think about in the comments below. I'm sure it'll be spicy. Thanks. If you like those videos, there's going to be 2 is going to come up on your left and right. Go ahead and check those out. And that's it for today. I'll see you on the next one.